The brand new Botnia Targa 30.1 has landed here in the UK, and we thought what better way to test it than to take it from its home in Poole here to Yarmouth on the Isle of Wight. And though it's sunny, it's proper Targa weather out there. The tide's steaming, it's a huge chop, and really it's the type of weather that this boat absolutely relishes. This one's got a pair of Volvo Penta D4 300 horsepower engines on board, should be good for well over 40 knots. We're going to have the following sea behind us back to Poole. Let's go. So if there's a boat equipped to deal with conditions like this, then it's a Botnia Targa. And we're out the lee of the Isle of Wight now, and the sea really is kicking up again. It's ever so slightly behind us. But what was most impressive coming over is though we were powering into this, we were still managing to do 24 knots as if it was nothing. And it's genuinely comfortable. It's not doing 24 knots, gritting your teeth and hoping it's all going to be over soon. It's 24 knots like it's a flat calm day for any other boat. This is just really in a league of its own when it comes to comfort in a rough sea. Now there are a whole raft of engine options available for this boat, including a single D6 400 that I think will be a very popular choice. This particular one has twin D4 300s, which is the largest engine option, and we saw 42.5 knots back in the Solent where it was slightly calmer, which when you think about it is unbelievably potent performance. But it also means that you can cruise anywhere from 8 knots where the range skyrockets up to 38, 40 knots if you want to. Even in this now, which is quite lumpy, won't look it on camera, but it is pretty lumpy. We're going along at 23 knots. It's quiet, nothing slamming or banging. We're used to this from Botnia Targa, but it doesn't matter how many times you drive one, you're always impressed by the way it goes through the water. The Targa helm station is absolutely superb. There's so much adjustment. It's a very comfortable boat to drive whether you're standing or seated. And one of the big things is the fact that you can move not just the wheel, all throttles, but the entire dash and bring it towards you. If you stand up, you can have it completely flat. The seat slides forwards and backwards, and it also swivels to join the table. You can really mould the helm position to your shape, and that is part of what makes driving the boat so relaxing. And with these sliding doors either side, you can also get a bit of ventilation quickly and easily, get some air in the cabin, and also it means you have great access to the side decks as well. Right, we're back in Poole, had a fantastic trip back. We drove the whole way from up here on the flybridge, so you can really experience the two sides of this boat. Inside it's refined and quiet and comfortable. Up there things are a little bit more raw. The boat feels extremely agile, and you get a bit caked in salt, as you can see. However, it does mean that you have got the versatility to be able to use the shelter of inside or get out in the elements like we have today. Let me get into the decks. If you know anything about the Targa range, it's all going to be pretty familiar. They're very safe, they're very practical, it's easy to move around, incredibly well thought out. It's really sensible boat building at its very best. For example, superb engine access. Below my feet, these two hatches rise up on powered rams, and you've got really fantastic access to both of the engines. There's a hatch in the bathing platform so you can very easily get to the stern drives if anything gets tangled in them out at sea, for example. You can get down both sides of the boat. There's bulwark gates back here, and then forward you have a really sociable seating area, and you can set up a table either there or back here in the cockpit. The flybridge, if you can call it that, it's more of a outdoor helm position, does split opinion. UK dealer Wessex Marine admits that there are a fair amount of people who don't want the flybridge. They don't think they'll ever use it, and you know, it is a bit of a steep old climb to get up here, and once you're here you have only 3 seats. But I have to say, as simple as it is, it does add an extra element to the boat. It's a standard feature, so you may as well have it even if you don't think you're going to use it that often. Inside the wheelhouse, it's all very familiar Targa. There's lashings of teak, timber everywhere you look and touch. It's solid as anything, and there is a place for everything and everything in its place. You have this hatch here where you have a small cooker, little sink, and then under these little fiddles here there's cup holders, places to stow pens and manual chart equipment. It really is a properly practical piece of kit. Of course, you have the doors both sides as well, so you have a nice flow through the boat and good for ventilation. A hatch in the roof, and then underneath this ram is where you've got your guest cabin. You don't buy a Botnia Targa for its accommodation. The cabin is pretty dark, a little bit pokey, there isn't a huge amount of storage, but it has got a double berth and it will suffice for a few nights, but it's not the last word in luxury. However, the aft cabin, the master cabin, does fare a little better, so let's go down there and have a look. So the aft cabin is, as I said, slightly better than the guest cabin, but there are still 30-foot boats out there with much more spacious accommodation, it has to be said. However, you have got a nice wide berth. Headroom isn't great. There's a few levels to negotiate on the floor as well, but you do have the extra practicality of this berth here, single berth, that you could use now and then, most likely for kids, I would imagine, because it's a little coffin-like. This is also where the boat's only bathroom is, so you share this with your guests. There isn't room to stand up and shower, but it has got a pull-out shower head in there and toilet and sink. And you do have better storage in here as well. There's hanging storage, there's a few drawers, and you've also got hook storage for wet fowlies if you need to dry them off too. This is the first brand new Botnia Targa for 5 years. You wouldn't know it really. It's doing things exactly the same as every other Botnia that's gone before it. But it's so good at it, why would they ever change it? Okay, it's an expensive boat. This one's £270,000 with the highest engines and a very good spec, it has to be said. And the accommodation and looks simply aren't going to suit everybody. But if you want a boat that's tough as nails, that will take you through anything, any time of year, when you want to go, it'll go with you, it's still pretty much unbeatable.